Delighted to welcome to SoccerX TV. Right, let me get this right. He's the head of fitness at HNK Hajduk Split in Croatia. Ian Coll's with us. Hi, Ian. How are you?
Hi, Rob. How are you? Well done in getting it right.
Is it a case? Do you just sort of tour the world and on your application say the place must be absolutely beautiful, or I'm not coming?
Yeah, exactly. That's part of my contract. It has to be in the contract. If it's not above 25 and doesn't have a beach, I don't go.
Because we'll talk about your CV as it goes. Okay, I'll give you Glasgow, and where you started. But everywhere you go is absolutely beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, beautiful. I mean, I left Glasgow, went to Dubai, went to Bulgaria, and then I went to Romania, and I went to Croatia. So I just travel around Eastern Europe. It's been wonderful.
How do you end up with these jobs? Seriously, what do you apply for them, or do people approach you?
Yeah, look, people have approached me. I mean, when I was in Dubai, I left Celtic after 8 years and went to Dubai, for a break. My son was born. And we were just basically out there for a career break. And I got contacted via LinkedIn. I did a presentation in Barcelona. And basically the sporting director was at that presentation. And it was 3 years after the presentation. And he said, look, we want to set up the sports science department. Do you want to come and help us? And he basically flew me from Dubai to Bulgaria, had the contract, everything ready for me to sign and move. I couldn't believe it. It was just like that.
That was ludicrous, the club. I mean, does sports science and fitness, does it cross over boundaries? Does it cross over languages? Does it cross over cultures?
Yeah, I mean, so in the UK, sports science is like your fitness guy. But in the UK, it's sports science. In Europe, it's more your fitness coach. So the sort of Spanish way or the Eastern European way, strength and conditioning. But in the UK, it's normally your sports scientist that does that work. So it's the same job, the same role. Probably sports science a bit more deeper in like data.
What how does it work from club to club? Say at Celtic, where you were with Brendan Rodgers, weren't you?
Yeah, I was with Brendan from last year.
How does it work? I'm talking country to country here. So Brendan, his relationship with you, is it different from your relationship with your current coach, or in Bulgaria, or is it pretty much the same?
Yeah, so look, Celtic, I worked for the club. Bulgaria, I worked for the club. Romania, I worked for the club. Now I work for the manager, so I'm part of his team. So it's a little bit different in terms of the context. So we are there on a contract that we must get results. We must get results, It's that sort of business. We all know that. Whereas before, it was about developing the club and the long-term strategy. So now my goals are probably more short-term to medium-term, whereas before they were long-term.
Explain what do you mean by that? So you're working individually with players. Is he saying to you, why is he not? Why are his stats not up? Or explain that to me.
Yeah, so basically, like at Celtic, I had Virgil van Dijk for 2.5 years. I worked with Virgil. So when Virgil came in, he was like the big project. So when we test Virgil on day one, when we want to sell Virgil van Dijk in 2 to 3 years, he must have improved his speed, his power, his strength. That always got improved. That's our long-term goal for Virgil, is to sell into the Premiership. As with every player at Celtic, we're now with the coaches. We arrive, we assess the squad, and okay, who can we make better in 3 months so they can impact our results now? That's really the big difference.
What kind of stats are you taking? Speed, strength?
Yeah,
what is it? How's it? You test everything now, don't you?
We test everything. They're hooked up to everything these days, So the players can't hide, not like the old days,
Is it true? I mean, I see that I was at Stevenage last night, and they've all got sort of monitors on and all that kind of thing. What are you testing for? What are you looking at?
So we've got GPS and heart rate that we use in training. We use the GPS units in games. So we're literally monitoring what they would call training load. So your external load is your GPS, your internal load is your heart rate. So basically, we want feedback from our training session, how hard that player's worked. So have they worked too hard? Have they worked too low? Do we need to do we need to adjust the next day's training? Do we need to make sure they're recovered for the game? Do we need to increase the training? So there's lots of scenarios based around that. In the game, we look at some performance indicators, which is like running, total distance, high intensity, and sprint. And that basically gives us an indication of how hard our players worked during that game. Was it a high standard game? Was it a low standard game? And we try to contextualize that into the tactics as well. So where we're pressing high, where we're in a low block. So we look at different parameters within the GPS to try and give an indication of how that game was physically for us.
Has football changed? Has the style changed? And as a result, has your job changed? Are they looking for more powerful athletes, or are they looking for tick-attackers?
Yeah, I mean, I don't take it that it's a big change from Eastern Europe. Honestly, look, I came from Glasgow, it's a high-level club. Now in Eastern Europe, I feel the players are very technically proficient, very technically proficient. Tactically, they're still developing in that area. Whereas in the UK, I think we are maybe higher tactical and low technical, if that makes sense, which is quite interesting for me. So I think the way we want to play at Hajduk is a high press. We want to run, we want to shut people down, we want to close them down, we want to fight. We want to run from the first minute to the 90th minute and try and put the other team under pressure, and then allow us to play technical football and tactical football. But that requires a high-level athletic player.
How influential are you on the style of play, or is it the coach that comes to you and say, we want to play this way, sort it out?
Yeah, now the coach comes to me and says, look, Ian, we want to play this way. I need you to get the players in shape to play this style of football. In Romania, my role was slightly different. I was head of performance, so I was involved in the sort of coaching methodology. So the owner there wanted to change the style of play. They played counter-attack football. He wanted to play possession football, tiki-taka football, like you said. But for Romania, that was a big, big change. So we had to change the whole training methodology. It wasn't just run like headless chickens. It was, let's put the ball down. Let's slow it down. These are options to pass. These are the movements. So it was a lot different, the training style. And for the players, it was a big adjustment. Whereas now the coach says to me now in Hajduk, we want to play this, fast-paced football.
It's a fascinating game between Leeds and Chelsea. And essentially Leeds ran them off the park. I mean, you can talk about tactics, you can talk about this and that, but they just ran a lot further than Chelsea. How significant is a simple stat like that in winning a football match?
I think if both teams are even, I watched the Leeds game. I think, like you said, they just closed them down from the first minute to the last minute. The Leeds were under Bielsa before, so they have that high energy, athletic football player already at the club. And I think Jesse Marsh is actually taking it to the next level and added probably a little bit more detail on the tactical. I know Bielsa is very high tactical. That might be controversial, but I think the way he's assessed the Premiership is maybe a higher level. So now he's getting the better out of the players who were already athletically fit, but now the tactical levels probably just came a little bit higher. And I think Chelsea just got caught cold in the day, to be honest with you, because they didn't give a minute on the ball.
Who's the player that you've worked with who's had everything, who's got everything?
I've got to say Virgil, haven't I? But to be honest, my favourite player that I worked with is Kieran Tierney at Arsenal. I worked with Kieran Tierney since he was 13 years old. So I watched his development all the way through his career. And that kid, to get to where he is today, I'm so happy for him, because there's no one that I've ever met in football that has a higher psychological mentality than that kid. And he deserves everything he's got today because of that. He will run through, it's cliche, he will run through the brick wall. He's the last of a dying breed of those players.
How influential are you when it comes to buying players? We look at, goes back to Moneyball, I guess, but the way Brentford assess players. How important is your input before Hajduk sign a player?
We are building that relationship at the moment. They have like a signing committee. It's a bit strange out here. They have a signing committee who assess the players. It goes through a process. I've tried to add the physical development to that because at Celtic we never signed a player unless we had any physical data on them. We added that in Ludogorets, which was successful. Romania, we didn't get to that level. Now I'm trying to push Hajduk to say, look, we want to play this style of football. You've got to let me know the player and assess the stats before you sign them, or we're going to make a mistake.
Right. Let's get down to the most important thing.
Yep.
Nightclubs in Split. Central the club, the Vanilla Club, the Quasimodo Club, the Hemingway. Go on. What's your... Describe to us where I'm sitting here in sort of dull London at the moment, Wembley, obviously, but brilliant. Give us a night out for Ian Coll. Obviously, you'll have your fitness monitor on, and everybody will be monitored.
Look, when we come back from away games, honestly, when we come back from away games, the Vanilla Club is beside our stadium. We literally got off the bus and the nightclub is there. Let's go left or go right. You know, you have a hard choice to make.
And then the boss the next day is going, hey, head of fitness, what's going on with my friend?
Yeah, stop taking the players to Manila.
Hey, listen, last one for you. Sorry, the one thing I wrote down. The 6th Annual Football Analytics and Talent Identification Summit in Milan.
Yeah.
Have you spoken there, or are you going to be speaking there?
I am going to be speaking there. God, you've done your research, Rob. I'm impressed. I am impressed. Well done.
What's all that about?
So this is actually, we spoke about this earlier. This is the event that I've done now. This will be my 3rd time doing it. The first year was the year I did the presentation that Ludwig's picked up on.
Got you.
Well, this is the 6th one. It's actually, I don't think they're going to hold it in Milan. There's more people who want to do it online.
Right.
So it's basically a conference about football performance. So as people around the world come together and speak online about coaching, about sports science, about fitness, about culture, about environment, and trying to help other staff and coaches who are trying to follow their career.
Right. It sounds absolutely fantastic. Last one. This is the last one for you.
No problem.
You're obviously really happy at Hajduk. What's your next move, if there is one? What happens to Ian Coll?
Look, we finished 2nd last year. I came here in January. We finished 2nd and we won the cup here. Our goal is to compete with Dinamo Zagreb and try to win the league after 17 years. If we can do that as a staffing group, I believe that we will get a good move to hopefully one of the top 5 leagues. That is our goal. My personal goal is to win the Champions League as part of staff. I've always had that goal. I'm always driven. I won't stop until I reach that. As a coach and staff, hopefully we can progress together into Europe, probably more Central Europe in top 5 league.
I'll see you in the Vanilla Club.
Oh, we'll get you a ticket. Free entry. Mention my name.
Ian, lovely to speak to you. Take care, mate.
Okay, Rob. Cheers.
See ya.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.